Hello, everyone, and as you can tell, there's no weekly Oscar talk live stream this week because it's a holiday week. We are spending our time being thankful with family members and the such, all of that fun stuff. So we pre-recorded a little special video where we are going to be talking about, I think, one of the most competitive races of this entire award season. I think one of the most competitive races every award season with some of the best performances every year. Best Actress, I think, always has the most attention, rightfully so, out of the acting categories. A lot of major contenders here. So yeah, we're going to be breaking down each. I think you'd agree with me, Anthony, that there's like 10 major contenders here, and there's really no one outside of that. There's not an 11th.
Yes. Well, I'm trying to think of who 9 and 10 are, but I'm sure when you say them, I'm going to agree.
Yeah. So we're going to go through each of them and give our pros and cons for their chances of getting nominated.
Yes. And I think what's interesting about this year with this category is that it is rare for the amount of Best Picture overlap with this category. We have a lot of films that are led by women or co-led by women, and therefore those movies are being represented in this category. And that is something that is, I mean, you go back to 2021 where did we have any that year?
Not a single one. It's only happened 3 times in the history of the Oscars where all 5 Best Actress nominees were in Best Picture nominated films.
So will that happen again? We'll see.
We shall. Let's start off with a contender who was just recently seen last night. Because between the both of us, this is why we're doing this now also. Between the both of us, we have now seen all 10 of those major contenders. There was one major one left that has now been seen. Let's start off with Fantasia Barrino. Anthony, you're the one who has seen this performance in this film. Give me the pros, cons, all of that on Fantasia Barrino in The Color Purple.
Yes. So first off, this is a debut. This is her first film ever. And that will definitely get her some attention because it is a brilliant performance. I think that she carries the legacy of The Color Purple so well in a role that is not designed to be as flashy as some of her counterparts. You know, Taraji P. Henson, Danielle Brooks get showier songs. She gets the 11 o'clock number, and it's one hell of a number. It's been my favorite song in this show since I saw it, I don't know, 6 years ago. So, and she delivers it well, but still it's the type of performance that like, it's the whole package. Like there's not like one scene that you can pick out, which I also think like is great about it. Like every single scene she is delivering at the same high level. She's funny, she's compassionate, she's sympathetic, she's, goes through a lot of trauma in the movie, but also always has that hope to it. I think it is one of the most well-rounded performances of the year. As far as a musical performance goes, I think it is definitely in the echelon of other people who have won in other musicals. I just think that she is really sensational when you just think of everything that she's asked to carry in this movie, especially because the story itself has these major tone shifts that you'll be laughing at one moment and then there'll be domestic abuse in the next scene, sometimes in the same scene. And I think it's because of her that in the end, the movie works. She's just such a light in this movie. And so, yes, I think she is a major contender. I think that the Globes will definitely go for her. SAG will definitely go for her. And I just don't see a world. It's similar to Oppenheimer as far as like, I don't see how you can ignore like Cillian Murphy in that movie. I've been talking about that as far as win capable. I don't know if this is win capable. We have to see the overall response to the movie, but it just seems like there's no way that in a world where I think this is getting 4 acting nominations or 3 other acting nominations, I don't see how she's not also joining the company of other actors and making it 4 for The Color Purple.
She's not. She's like very much still as much of a standout as the rest of the cast.
She's. I mean, I think a lot of people will cry at different moments, but in the end, Fantasia was the one that made me cry in the last scene. I think that she is the movie, and I think that what's great about it is that when she chooses to express herself and really, the movie is a lot about defining her courage, and I think she plays that beautifully. And when she lets her imagination inspire her towards defining her integrity. And so, yeah, I think that she's there. And, people will say that she doesn't have that Oscar clip moment, or I just said that. she does have the song at the end that is going to probably be the moment that everybody uses for her. The only
Okay.
reason I said that is
Yeah.
just because it's not like the whole movie is that level for me, at least. So like when she gets to that song, I'm like, all right, preach. You've already been doing this for 2 hours.
Yeah.
It's not the type of song. It's like, well, she was good, but that one song was great. No, she's great the whole movie. And she's fantastic, especially
Yeah.
for a first time movie. I was
Yeah.
shocked.
A
when I heard that.
debut. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm very excited to see it. I think you very clearly said all the pros there. I think only con would really maybe be she's not like you said, it's her first big screen performance. She's not a big name in a year with a lot of big names, but I think the film overall and the performance seems to be strong enough for her to still.
And listen, the narrative of American Idol winner, played it on Broadway, and now is doing the movie. I will say last night at the first screening, and they did a big Q&A with the whole cast.
Yeah.
She got the most speaking time, and everybody was really responding. I mean, they responded to everything, but they really responded to what she was saying. I think she is the soul of the movie, rightly so. And yeah, as far as cons go, again, it's just because I don't. The only con I could think about is if her co-stars are stealing the talk away from her, but I don't see that happening. To me, being in the room, it feels it's such a well-balanced ensemble. And I think what's really great is you saw such support for the main trio of women here, Taraji P. Henson, Danielle Brooks, and Fantasia Barrino. And it seems I think we saw this a lot with Everything Everywhere. We see this a lot of times with these movies that really people get behind. You cannot not nominate. It also reminds me of Marina de Tavira, where it's like everywhere Alfonso Cuarón went, they were like, he was saying it's these two women. And so when it came time to voting, how could you not award those two women with nominations? So I see a world where all three of those women get nominated. And I also think Coleman Domingo, that fifth spot is locked. It is.
Okay. That's a competitive
Rustin,
category.
Rustin will only help him. But I think that Coleman Domingo, that performance, because the movie also decides to really, the main relationship is between Fantasia and Coleman. I would argue Coleman maybe gets the second most amount of screen time. And so I just think that a lot of what he was talking about last night about Black men and portraying their empathy and talking about why hurt people, there's so much to that character that is so unique. And I think people are waiting for the moment to really honor Coleman Domingo. And we've seen it a little bit with his, Euphoria performance, but this is going to be the movie that gets him the nomination, because this is a 8+ nominee type of movie. Like, this is in that upper echelon. It's not going to be one of the lower. It's in my top 5 for Best Picture as far as contenders. It's huge. SAG ensemble it might win, honestly.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think that, again, how can you not then say Fantasia goes along for the ride? I think currently she is in my top 5. But I still have to see Natalie Portman. So that's the one I have my eye on. But I don't think May December will perform as strongly as The Color Purple will.
No. I'd probably, out of the 10, rank her number 4 right now in my list is probably where I would.
Yeah, her and Sandra Hüller, or it's like you have the top 3 of Emma Stone, Lily Gladstone, and Carey Mulligan, and then Fantasia. But honestly, I gotta say, if Color Purple really does well, I mean, I don't know. There's a world where I think she maybe notches herself up, because it is such an impressive debut, and it's such a consistent performance. Again, I keep going to that because I think a lot of times in musicals you get those one songs that really solidify their work. But I think with here, like, it's just, you watch this person just be alive from start to finish, and never did I feel that she was posturing for the For Your Consideration campaign. It was such a balanced, considered performance.
Okie doke. Well, let's move on to Warner Brothers' other big contender in this category. Let's talk about Margot Robbie in Barbie. This is interesting because I would argue that she's in a top 3 Best Picture contender. She's in a huge contender, which is a pro. She's the face of that. She has both dramatic and comedic moments. Greta Gerwig got both of her previous Best Actress leading women for her past films nominated. Everyone has seen the movie, but still, I don't know if I can fit her into my 5 because it's not the type of performance they usually go for compared to some of the other stuff here, like a Fantasia Barrino, which seems more Academy friendly, or some of the other contenders like Gladstone or Mulligan. But yeah, I can't quite fit her in there, which is upsetting because the movie's going to get like pretty much everything else. But I think it's just due to competition that she'll probably end up being overlooked.
Yeah, I think this was the possible con I talked about with Fantasia that seems to be happening, unfortunately so, which is that the co-star in many people's minds stole the movie. Now, I think what Margot Robbie does in this film, it's very nuanced. She ends up playing, I described this movie as a coming of age musical for an actress who is 32 and for a character who doesn't sing. And she plays this childlike, discovery of life while also being a mature woman so well. It's such an interesting character when you really delve into what's being done with Barbie. And she's a great scene partner for everybody. It's a very good performance. It's a great performance, and it would be deserving of this category. I call things like this Lego movie syndrome, where I just think it's going to be difficult for some people to get behind voting for her for Barbie. I think that just the idea of her playing Barbie will stop some people from considering it seriously. Now, I know that you're going to say, well, they're considering it in every other category. I think there's something different about it. I don't know why. I think it's also because it's like Fantasia Barrino. There's not really like one moment that really stands out among the rest. Like, it's all fantastic. But that means that like you can't point and be like, wow, look at Margot Robbie in that scene.
I can only really think of the crying scene, which isn't really like that Oscar clippy.
So I think I do think there's a world where maybe Sandra Hüller falls off if Anatomy of the Fall doesn't have the same momentum we think it does, and maybe Margot Robbie does sneak into the top 5 because there is such passion for the movie. I do think that's a possibility, and I also think it's a possibility in a world where maybe Natalie Portman underperforms, that maybe Margot Robbie sneaks into the SAG 5. I think that's a possibility because they tend to go with more popular performances and popular actors. Yeah. But as far as Oscars go, I do think that, listen, Greta Gerwig has always gotten
both Saoirse.
And then always got a supporting because she got Laurie Metcalf for Lady Bird and Florence Pugh for Little Women. So, never doubt it could be Margot and Ryan. But in this current moment, I do think that despite how popular the movies are this year, we're still going to see that contingent that goes for the more independent films, the international films. And I do think Sandra Hüller will probably, in the end, take Margot Robbie's spot. But again, also, I do think that, we have to mention that she's going to get nominated for producing.
She'll still be nominated.
She'll still be nominated.
She could win.
Yeah, I know. But I also think we need to, Barbie is beloved, and some people may just feel that she needs a singular nomination for the work that she did on the movie, because that's how much they love the movie, because they know how much she was involved. She was involved with it before Greta Gerwig was, and I think enough people in the industry do know that. So we'll see the campaign again. I think tonight is the first Barbie screening with Margot Robbie, the day we're recording this on the 17th of November. So let's see how she campaigns.
Yeah. I think she hasn't been, they haven't been able to campaign much, but I think she will definitely be a huge face of the film when it comes to campaigning. But yeah, I think
she's also producer on Saltburn too, It's
yes,
it's not her only horse in the ring.
I don't think that will end up getting her a Best Picture nomination, but another notch to the tally. But let's, Margot Robbie was in Babylon. I'm going to try and find a segue between all of these actresses. Margot Robbie was in Babylon. You know who almost had that role in Babylon but wasn't able to get that role due to scheduling conflicts? That would be Emma Stone. So let's talk about it. You haven't seen this performance.
I have not seen it.
I have. It's easily my favorite performance of the year so far. It's easily
overall,
her career.
Not just in this category.
Overall, just the entire year. Yes. Easily, I think, the best work of her entire career. It's kind of, I've seen, I first thought it might be exaggeration, but the more I think about it, I might need a second rewatch. But lots of people are saying it's like an all-timer performance, and I think it kind of is. It's very showy. She's also in a top picture contender. It's, like I said, her career best work, so I don't think if she's doing her career best work, I don't know how much people will be like, I don't want to give her another one, because it's like she's improving, which I think is what you need to do to win another Oscar. The only con would be that nothing like this has won in Best Actress before. It would be the most wacky, sexually explicit, out there, crazy performance to have won in this category, which is, I think, the only con against her. It's not very like traditional Oscar baity kind of performance that they often go for, but that's really the only thing holding her back, I think. So right now, I
think that's going to help her.
I think so too. At first, I was hesitant about it, but I've put her back at number one. I think right now, I think she's going to take it home.
Yeah, I think there's a bravado with it, and I think a lot of times, if you're weird, it's a harder thing to get nominated. Once you're in, as we saw with Everything Everywhere, then it's all gravy, because
it makes her stand out more too.
Makes her stand out, and it's my favorite thing. I love hearing, because there will be people who don't like her performance or like a movie like that, but they'll say, but I respect it. And so I think you'll get a lot of people respecting Emma Stone and Yorgos Lanthimos and what they do with this character. It helps that she's the lead of the movie, and she doesn't, from what I've heard, she is the lead. She is the movie. She doesn't have to share it with like a Ryan Gosling or a Bradley Cooper.
Nothing's even close to like any, like Ryan Gosling, I think, is kind of like a co-lead. Like, it's entirely Emma Stone's character's journey, and all of these supporting players, like Willem Dafoe, kind of disappears for the second act. Mark Ruffalo really only appears for the second act, so it's her meeting other people throughout this whole thing. No one is,
and that helps because I think everybody else that we're going to talk about pretty much has somebody else that they are leaning on throughout the movie.
The whole movie,
and she is the only one that is. It's like Cate Blanchett in Tar. Now, you could argue Cate Blanchett didn't end up winning, but I don't sense the same level of, again, I have my eye on Fantasia because it could happen with Fantasia. The same way it happened with Michelle Yeoh, where there's a desire to award this individual for unique work because that type of performance doesn't come along ever. And I also think that, when you're looking at her versus the other contenders, like it's a more joyous performance. It's not one that is, super depressing or melancholy. Like,
it's very comedic and dramatic. She nails both sides.
I think Emma Stone. I mean, Emma Stone's my number one. Is she for you?
She's my winner right now.
Yeah. I think that's going to be where Poor Things gets love
awarded.
And it's the other thing too is it's so different from La La Land that it distinguishes her range.
Polar opposite.
And I also think, it's been, 7 years since La La Land? Like, it's been enough time. I mean, people have won in shorter distances.
And she's one of the best actresses of her generation. I mean,
if not the best. It's her, Saoirse, Florence, like, it's that group. And I think that it's just... She has a good agent. She has probably the best.
She has a very good agent. Very good agent. In The Curse right now, and another Yorgos movie next year. She's killing it right now. So
and that's, I think, really, I think that's fun to see, because I don't know how. I feel like we can name male actor, male director pairings. I don't think we can name too many male director, female actor pairings as much. Like, it's an interesting combo we have with the two of them. And, listen, every time that she's up for an award, I think she is always a threat. In my opinion, she should have won all 3 of her Oscar nominations thus far. And when I see Poor Things, I might say that she should win her 4th.
I think you will, honestly. And as we've seen, I mean, I think she was really itching to campaign, even when she wasn't able to. She secretly attended the NIF screening, and not the NIF screening of the short film that she did there, but she was also at Telluride, and now she is able to fully campaign, and she is campaigning, and she's very charismatic and likable and funny, which helps as well. It would be hard to not to hate Emma Stone. I don't think there's a single person out there who could do that. I think she's extremely lovable. So that only
and
helps.
Also just look at like the movies we have. Like, Barbie in theory is weird. It's a quirky movie. Poor Things is a quirky movie. Oppenheimer is an unconventional way to tell that story. I don't like, what is safe Oscar bait this year? I mean, you could argue The Holdovers, but I think that there are certain elements about it that to me, I think the way it reveals its characters was super compelling.
Yeah.
I don't see anything that is playing it safe.
No.
I'm trying to think.
Not that it's in major contention. I think some of the stuff like Rustin, which seems a little more basic, is not a major contender.
I mean, I would argue Kill is the Flower Moon is not doing anything. It's not moving us forward in any way, and I think you're seeing a lack of conversation around that because I think nobody like the people who liked it, but they're not going crazy for it. And I think that's hurting it, which I think is hurting Lily Gladstone, who might be next. Did I give you a segue?
Yeah, let's do Lily Gladstone. Lily Gladstone. Moving on to Lily Gladstone. I think she's clearly a top 3 contender here. I think the main con against her is that she is not really quite the lead. She disappears for a lot of the movie.
Not quite. She's not the lead.
She's not the lead in the slightest.
Robert De Niro has more screen time than her, I would bet you.
She is the lead actress in it, but it's still a supporting role, I would say. But I do think most people leaving the movie think about her. I think she is unanimously praised by everyone, even people who might not like the movie as much.
Hello.
Love her performance. Yeah, right over here or over here.
She's the most original part of the movie, and her quiet moments speak volumes, and I think that will get her the nomination. I also think because, again, for the people who do like Killers of the Flower Moon, she is the movie. She is what needs to be awarded, and I don't know, it just makes sense. I think that it's a performance that just makes sense to be among the performances nominated this year, no matter what category she's in. I still think it's a possibility that we get some Lakeith Stanfield shenanigans and she ends up back in supporting.
I think she's established herself pretty clearly as lead.
Barbie's established itself as original screenplay, and that still might switch.
I think, but that has to be determined before voting happens, whereas in the acting, you determine the placement during voting. I think Barbie will probably end up an adapted person. I think they'll rule that out. But in terms of Gladstone, I think she has one of the strongest narratives of anyone here. In terms of that helping her campaign, I think that boosts her up a lot. I do think the con would be the runtime. Another pro, I think everyone campaigning for this movie, as we saw even back during Cannes, is putting the spotlight on Lily Gladstone. Anything I think DiCaprio or De Niro or Scorsese does, I think will be highlighting Lily Gladstone in particular. So I think she is going to be the main push for the film. She's the best chance for it to win. I just still don't think, maybe in another year, but it's not, she doesn't have enough. And it's also not an extremely showy performance. I love the performance. It's very subtle. It's the kind of work that I do love seeing in acting, but she doesn't have an Oscar clip. The closest she comes to is that crying on the stairs scene. Yeah. But even then, that's not quite.
You know what it reminds me of? It reminds me of Yalitza Aparicio, who was incredibly valuable to that film's success. She's very emotive, but in quiet form. And if Lily Gladstone had the screen time, that's the thing. I think Killers of the Flower Moon has an hour on Roma, but I think Yalitza has more screen time in her movie. And
I think it's close. Yeah.
Yeah. So I think that's the thing, is that it's the type of performance that you just need to spend so much time with the individual because they're not communicating in a traditional way. They're traditioning with, it's your term, which I love, is ocular acting. You then need to spend more time with them because they're not always telling you how they what's going on. I know, I think again, there's just a little bit of removal from her, but it's nothing to do with her performance. And I think she will be honored. She will get nominated. But I would honestly, at this point, if Fantasia gets in, I think she's number 3. And
she's a more showier performance from what it sounds like. They don't, they nominate ocular performances. It's very rare for those to win, which is why I'm also worried about Cillian Murphy.
Yeah, I think Cillian Murphy has the benefit of he is the unquantified. He's the lead. He is. It's without debate. And I also think that he gets to play in a clearer way. Gets to play Oppenheimer across time, and see. He goes from playing him as a college kid to being in his 60s. So I think that helps him. It's a quantifiable acting.
I agree. Well, Lily, you know what else is in Lily? And you know what lilies are in water? Water lilies. You know who swam in water? Annette Bening in Nyad did that.
There are only, again, 10 names, and we've mentioned 5 of them, and I still have no idea where you were going with that. I was like, are you going to mention the ponds of Naboo, and we're going to talk about freaking
Natalie
Portman.
Not quite yet. Not quite yet. But yeah, Annette Bening, you know, I was high on this being a potential winner earlier in the season. I'm not quite there anymore. Before, yeah, that's when you throw out the crazy stuff before anyone has seen anything. I think her big pro is that she's the only veteran actress out of these 10, really, is what I would say. In most years, there is a veteran actress nominated. I don't think it has to happen, but I think that does help her with, I think especially within the movie also itself, it's very pro old people. You can still do stuff. So I think that resonates with older voters, maybe. Yeah, pro old people.
Do you think it helps more to be a veteran who's never won versus somebody younger who has?
That's true.
Because like you have Natalie Portman and Emma Stone, and I would think that once you get in the club, it's easier to keep getting in than somebody who. Because I think what happens with Annette Bening, it doesn't so much affect you in supporting actors. You can get nominated in supporting, but I think it's harder if you have never won to get into Best Actress, because they keep then in their mind like, well, she's not going to win for this. Yeah. Like, it's harder. I don't know. I think that it would be different if the movie's not about her. She's not the lead. Again, this is like,
it's more about Jodie Foster. Honestly.
I honestly think there's a world where you put Jodie Foster in lead and Annette Bening in supporting, and nobody bats an eye. Like, to me, that makes as much sense as putting Lily Gladstone in lead and Ryan Gosling in supporting. So I don't know. The movie in the end, like what you've come away from feeling is it's Jodie Foster. It's the journey of how this woman helped Nyad, because Nyad's in the water for the majority of it.
Yeah. Yeah. And her character also is very unlikable, which I don't think helps. And she's in an overall.
Doesn't help women in particular.
Oh yeah. They like unlikable men. They're not fans of unlikable women for some reason.
Coleman Domingo is like, he's like Richard E. Grant and Can You Ever Forgive Me? He's like that winking devil type of character, but then he arcs beautifully. So that's the thing. He has, again, the emotional range. I called it a feat of cinematic emotion. Coleman Domingo has that. Sorry.
I'm looking forward to that very much. So that supporting actor, we'll have to, when we do that video, that's insane. I don't know how I'm going to fit 5 people in there. It's a struggle. But in terms of this, I think she's in a super weak movie. Her character is unlikable. She's overshadowed by her co-star. She has like clippy, like maybe 1 or 2 clippy moments where she like cries a little, but it's not anything too impressive. It's not her best work.
It's not terrible. Like it's fine.
She's fine.
The movie, it's effective, but it's not Best Actress material.
No, it's not. It's not. So I would probably rank her out of the 10 people here, maybe 10, maybe 9, so somewhere around there.
I gotta know the other names on this list.
Yeah. I think you would probably agree.
I think she's probably higher. If you have Cailee Spaeny in here, I probably have Cailee Spaeny at 10 and Annette Bening at 9.
Okay. So, I probably yeah. I think I would have someone.
We'll get, game.
Yeah. We can do a final ranking at the end, maybe. Once you know everyone, but Annette Bening was in a Hollywood Reporter roundtable in 2017, and do you know who was on that roundtable with her? Natalie Portman.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it was a fun. Also, Emma Stone was on that roundtable. So, and Taraji
we already did Emma Stone. It was like 2016.
Yeah.
Oh my God! Talk about a Best Actress race where nobody knew what the hell was going on. I remember once that people were predicting Emma Stone, Natalie Portman, Taraji P. Henson, Amy Adams, and Annette Bening. Like that was the 5, and 3 of those people didn't get on. It's crazy.
Amy Adams, tragic. Yeah, crazy season. But Natalie Portman, May December. You have not seen this one. Very good performance. Very good performance. One of her best. I wouldn't say career. I'd say one of her best in recent years. Probably since Jackie. Yeah, it is hard to beat Black Swan. She has a super showy like 5-minute monologue straight to the camera where she goes through like every emotion towards the end of the movie that I think actors will love. She's playing an actress, which I think also appeals to actors.
She could get in at SAG. I wouldn't be too surprised.
That's because Netflix knows how to get acting noms in particular at SAG. I mean, look at what's his name, Adam Sandler for Hustle last year,
and people like her. Like I think they do. I think she kind of.
Oh yeah.
I think she was kind of the precursor to Emma Stone. I feel like that she was like the actor who was in popular movies then started drifting into independent world, made a big splash with their first movie. I just think, the follow-up hasn't been as strong as Emma Stone's, but also like two of Emma Stone's biggest credits to date after La La Land were with the same director. So I think we have to figure that in. Like Emma Stone has only been nominated, I'm assuming she gets nominated for Poor Things, since her win for Yorgos Lanthimos movies. So that's just something to keep in mind. By the time, like, even though Natalie Portman won 6 years before Emma Stone, I believe this will be her fourth nomination, and it'll be
Emma Stone.
So they'll be pretty. That's the other thing too. Is like they're very similar actors with very similar narratives. So in the end, it comes down to the movie. We have to see how the movie performs. But I think that, listen, if Julianne Moore gets in, which I think is strong, and you are very high on Charles Melton, which I think very competitive, but could. I don't see a world where they get in and Natalie Portman doesn't. That seems a little odd to me.
Yeah, it's just another thing where I think both of them, I mean, supporting actor is competitive, but I do think everyone leaving this movie, I think all of the spotlight is going to be on Charles Melton more so than these two. I think everyone knows how great these two are. Charles Melton, everyone leaves with that as like a revelation because he is the best performance out of the three, in my opinion.
Can I suggest something?
Yes, you may suggest something.
Maybe it's a little odd. Is there a world you think where Robert De Niro doesn't get nominated?
When we do our updated predictions, I think you might see that I think we are going to live in that world, is what I would say.
Because then, real quick, we'll give a little teaser. Because I think there's a world where you got your two boys at the top that are never leaving, Downey and Gosling, one Poor Things actor, and I'm leaning Mark Ruffalo.
I would lean Defoe, but
again, you've seen the movie. From what I've heard, it seems
Mark Ruffalo is much more showy. I just think Defoe, it might end up being like a situation where Defoe, he's also
Katrina Balfe, Judi Dench situation.
Yeah, kind of like that. He's, I think, a little more veteran, and he has the more emotional, like connecting performance. Mark Ruffalo's character is funny but unlikable.
Yeah,
Defoe's like the heart of the film.
Yeah, so if you get one Poor Things actor, and then Gosling, Downey, Coleman Domingo, which again I feel very strongly about. Like, and if he doesn't get nominated, it's a damn shame.
Yeah.
And then maybe Charles Melton could be your five. That would be one hell of a support. That would be like one of the best supporting actor categories in like recent memory. So, and I haven't seen two of the movies.
I think you'll very much like Charles Melton in this movie. He is one of my favorite performances of the year. So I do think it could hurt. I think both Portman and Moore, but Moore is in a much less competitive category that I think everyone's going to be talking about Melton instead. Yeah. And she's also in a borderline movie that could maybe get Best Picture, but maybe couldn't. It's not career best work. So I think I'd have her missing.
I see a world. I have her missing as well. Now, again, I have to see the movie. But because I think based on what I know about the character, it seems as if she's somebody who like uneases people as the movie goes along because of how much she's kind of transitioning into playing the Julianne Moore character.
She's, I think, intentionally trying to unease people. She's testing them. Yeah.
That I think could turn people off from that character in a way that they won't from Julianne Moore, because Julianne Moore, from my reading of the movie, it seems as if she's like the idea of who the character is. It's what's shocking, but it's not like she sinks into lower depravities.
I would say out of the three of them, she's very much the worst and most easily dislikable out of the three. Oh, Melton is the one character you just feel bad for. Natalie Portman's character is kind of like our eyes into the movie, but she does some stuff where it's like, okay, it's like you're going a little too far there. That's what without spoiling anything.
Again,
Julianne
I'm excited to see it. I'm excited to see it. I do think in the end, this category is so competitive. I just don't know if there's a place for Miss Portman.
Yeah, unfortunate, but
she'll probably make my top five, my personal five.
I think she'll definitely make my five. There's a lot going on there. It's like Natalie Portman, an incredible actress, but she's playing an actress who's like not of the same caliber as Natalie Portman, which is just fun. But yeah,
it's like singers who don't know how to sing.
It's like Natalie Portman playing like a CW actress or whatever. It's very fun. But May December premiered at Cannes this year. Do you know what else premiered at Cannes?
Anatomy of a Fall. I'm on to
Anatomy
your
of a
game now.
Fall. Yeah, you are. Starring Sandra Hüller, the lead. I haven't seen this movie, unfortunately. It's never played in a theater near me, so I'll probably have to wait for VOD. So tell me your thoughts on the pros, cons of this performance.
Yes, this is a fantastic performance. Sandra Hüller is brilliant in when she decides to let you come close and when she decides to let you contemplate her moral actions and the ethics of the character. It is a fascinating, fascinating tour de force. And I think she gets it. I think, especially if Anatomy of a Fall gets in for Best Picture, which I currently have, I think she goes along with it. There's no way that you can honor the movie without her. It is really, she eases you in. There's such a great level of detail to her performance, and she's on the stand, which always helps. A lot of performance, great clips there. But there's one scene with her husband. I think it's like a 10-minute scene, and the two of them are going back and forth. And in that scene alone, she's deserving of the nomination. So I think that in a world where we have popular actors up the wazoo in this category, I think she is a different type of discovery that people are going to be like, ooh, who is this? I think her being in the zone of interest is only going to help her here. In the same way that Rustin will help Coleman Domingo. I'm really trying to make Coleman Domingo happen.
You are, yeah. You're his campaign manager, just like I'm
really
Charles
am.
Melton's.
Oh my God. And so I think, yes, Sandra Hüller fights the pack and gets in for Anatomy of a Fall. And when you see it, you probably will agree.
I know. Because that's the thing. I feel like Emma Stone's easily my favorite of these ones here. I think Sandra Hüller is the one who would maybe contend for her there. Is she your favorite of the ones you've seen here?
Out of the people here, that's a good question. I'm assuming Greta Lee is not in this 10.
Greta Lee is in this 10, yes.
Greta Lee might give her a run for her money. However, there's another performance that I really do love from this year that's not in Oscar contention. We might talk about it if we do our hidden gems discussion.
Oh, okay. Interesting.
But I think Sandra Hüller would definitely be one of the best performances. I think it's also because, and this is not a spoiler, but of the nature of the movie, you are questioning whether her character did something or not. And once you get to the end of the movie and you get that answer, I think it definitely affects the way you see it. Very similar to learning valuable information in The Holdovers reshapes how you consider the beginning of the movie for certain characters. And so for me, I'm really interested to go back into Anatomy of a Fall, as I think I've said on the past show, because there are layers to her performance that you are going to you're just going to have more clarity on because of how it ends. But it's definitely it's definitely one of the more meticulously crafted performances of the year, and I think she's deserving of the honor.
I can't wait to see it. She's also speaking multiple languages, which they love. And I think out of anyone here, she would be the most likely to win the critics trifecta, seems like, is what I would say. I think the critics will really support her performance in particular out of everyone here.
It could go Emma Stone. I think it's that'll.
I think that's where it's tricky. I think they'll probably split between the two of them. I don't think one of them will.
Blanchett, right? What was the trifecta last year?
I think it was Blanchett won 2 of the 3. She might have won all 3 actually.
I feel like when you're good and you're well known and you manage to surprise people, the trifecta will go for you. Especially it's Emma Stone. Who doesn't like Emma Stone? Find me somebody who doesn't like Emma Stone. And
exactly.
Conversation.
Everyone loves her. I think she could still win one. Hüller, though. I could see her still winning one.
Yeah.
But her cons are, I mean, they're pretty obvious. She's not a big name. No one in Hollywood has really probably heard of her unless they explore foreign cinema deeply. I think she is in a borderline movie. I personally don't have the movie in Best Picture, but I do have her in Best Actress, because I don't want all of my 5 Best Actresses to be from Best Picture films, because that's very rare.
What's your number 10 in picture?
My number 10 in picture is, I believe, May December right now.
Because I think what will help Anatomy of a Fall is it's from Neon, and it's really their only major contender. So if I'm looking at Netflix or A24 for May December or
Zone of Interest.
They already have a movie that could potentially be taking their eye off the ball, where Neon, and we've seen Neon to be a very good campaigner. I think they're going to really push this. I think there's still a world where Justine Triet could maybe sneak into Best Director. So I don't think that's completely out of the realm of possibility. In the vein of a Thomas Vinterberg, oh my God, Triangle of Sadness, Ruben Östlund type of nomination.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah, I could see that. I think it's also worth mentioning that the foreign performances, the acting branch rarely nominates them. It's usually when they do nominate them, big names like a Penelope Cruz. No one from Parasite, Best Picture, huge movie, even got nominated. So it is worth mentioning.
This would be an Isabelle Huppert type nomination.
Yes, yes. But I still think even then, Huppert probably has more recognition and credibility than Hüller has at this point. But I still think she gets in just purely based off of the raves and quality of the performance.
I mean, listen, Marion Cotillard was not like Isabelle Huppert, and she got in and won her year. You know, I think that it's not always that you have to be the veteran. I think it helps. That's why, again, I'm not predicting Justine Triet, because I think that, especially in that category, they like the names. You know, it's why they went for Ruben Östlund over Edward Berger. But I don't know. I think that she's in 2 movies that people will have seen. She is Anatomy in the Fall. I don't know. I also feel like, again,
pretty good.
She's a lot of these other people are, you know, popular actors. I think there's something about discovering somebody.
A discovery is nice, yeah.
So
for sure, I think, yeah, and she's also been able to campaign previously, so she's been out there.
She'll get the European vote, you know.
She will, for sure. And there's, as we've seen, as the Academy expands, more foreign influence, rightfully so, on the nominations. But, you know, her character, it seems like, from the trailer, has a complicated relationship with her husband. You know who else has a complicated relationship with her husband? Carey Mulligan in Maestro does.
You could have gone Cailee Spaeny as well.
I could have. That's true. But this is a different complicated relationship. Yes. This is one that I have seen that you have not. She is really good in this movie. I feel like I've gone over it before, all of her pros. I mean, out of everyone here that I've seen, I still believe she has the most Academy Awards, Oscar baity, like awards friendly performance, like the most traditional performance that they go for. I mean, it's very showy, in my opinion. I've seen some people say it's not, but I don't understand that. In the third act, she will make you cry, maybe multiple times. Like, it's very, very moving stuff. She is, because of the third act, what you're going to leave the movie thinking about. I think she kind of steals most of the scenes that she's with Bradley Cooper away from him, just because of the dynamic of their relationship. She kind of steals the scenes both in character and as an actress away from Bradley Cooper. And she also, there's some makeup work going on towards the end, is all I'll say, because she enters a different stage in her life. I don't know, it's real life, but I guess I shouldn't spoil it if you don't know what happens to her character.
She gets old.
she gets old, but also like sick. And it's she goes through a lot. It's very emotional towards the end. I think she's pretty safe for a nomination. If they were to go with the most traditional awards-friendly performance, I think it would be her. I don't know. They're doing that less though lately. So I think that.
Who do you think is more likely to win, her or Bradley Cooper?
Oh, Bradley Cooper for sure. I don't think she can win and Bradley Cooper lose. I don't think.
I think that hurts her.
Yeah, I think it does too.
When there's a castmate that has a strong, it's what I talked about with Fantasia. When there's a castmate who has a stronger chance of winning, I think that hurts you. I think that's why people were reluctant to pick Jamie Lee Curtis, even though it in the end made sense, because they were like, well, the other people have a better shot. Now, Jamie Lee Curtis ended up winning, but I don't know. I think that it could not go her way, because people could, despite what the movie may be and what the poster says, they might end up just saying, this is the Bradley Cooper show. It's time to honor Bradley Cooper. And they want to honor, they let's say in a world where Bradley Cooper does win, they take care of Maestro there, and then they can go Poor Things for Best Actress or Hüllers or whatever they want to do.
Because there's a lot of options in Best Actress too. It's like, you might not want to just, if there's only 4 acting categories, give 2 of them to the same movie. I am interested to see how Bradley Cooper chooses to campaign this season. If he chooses to campaign more as a director or more as an actor, I think he really needs to pick one. If he needs to campaign as an actor, he'd be lucky to be nominated for director. So I think he should campaign as an actor.
And I feel like somebody who would have nominated him for A Star Is Born, and I would have seen the movie, and I might say that he directed one of the 5 best movies of the year.
It's better directed than A Star Is Born, I think.
Because
in my opinion,
listen, I know Cillian Murphy is a tough battle, but it's not as tough as Christopher Nolan. So you need to go to actor because that's the shot where you have to win. And it's really the only, if he can do the makeup actor combo, that's 2 for Maestro, and that's not that bad a tally. I think it's probably better than Netflix movies usually get.
Yeah, better than most Netflix movies, really. Besides,
maybe all
I don't know.
Netflix movies, because what was they didn't get 2 last year.
Oh, All Quiet won at least 3, didn't it?
That's true, but that didn't include an above the line.
That's true. That's true.
God, All Quiet on the Western Front.
Yeah. Not looking great back in retrospective in terms of the wins, in my opinion.
It was fine. But, it was just it wasn't Babylon.
Yeah, no, it was not at all. But Carey Mulligan, I think we've said our piece on Carey Mulligan. I would definitely, I'd have her, at number 3. But speaking of numbers, Carey Mulligan has 2 kids. Do you know who else has 2 children? Greta Lee in Past Lives, not in the movie, but in real life, Greta Lee has 2 children, just like Carey Mulligan does. So that's your connection there. I definitely didn't try and look that up to find a connection in the meantime. But yeah, Greta Lee in Past Lives. I really like this performance. I don't really think it has a shot of being nominated, unfortunately, because the movie's borderline. It might get into Best Picture, it might not. This category is very competitive. She's not a big name. It's very subtle work. It's not showy really at all. I guess
her Oscar clip is from across the street.
Yeah, it is. I would honestly choose her explaining Inyan to one of the guys, either of the scenes, as her Oscar clip instead. But yeah, it's not the kind of performance that they usually go for. The critics will probably support her with nominations. I still, in a different, less competitive year, she could have been like a Paul Mescal last year. If it was that level of competition, an actress, she could have snuck in. But in this level of competition, with these kind of showy performances, with these big names that are in bigger movies, I just don't see it happening.
From the same studio.
From the same studio.
Spaeny also,
who I think has a better shot than her,
honestly. And going after the same level, same demographic of voter. Yeah, I think, unfortunately, despite beautiful work in this movie, and I think that it's a trio of great performances, but I do think she's the best. I just think that there's not enough space for her. Past Lives is on the bubble. I think that there's enough support that it gets in other categories, but not here, unfortunately.
Yeah, I don't even have it in picture, so I don't think she would get it if the movie itself is not in picture.
I think it could get picture, screenplay, and score and get 3 nominations. It's a nice little sum for that movie. But
it's possible.
Because we're going to need some movies that don't get 8 nominations.
Yes, I just see that more as like a Zone of Interest, maybe, rather than this, in terms of
I just think this is an easier sit than Zone of Interest. Zone of Interest, if people go for it and they're willing to really relinquish themselves.
I think the foreign voters will.
But even so, like, you look at, like, Triangle of Sadness was an entertaining movie. It wasn't, when they go for foreign movies, they don't go for, like, the super, like, Elle doesn't get into Best Picture. They don't go for, like, the super
I'll have to wait to see it.
International features. I'm trying to think if they've, like, what's the most recent dark, depressing movie?
How dark and depressing? I never saw it. Was Cold War. Was that dark and depressing?
But that didn't get in for Best Picture.
I think in a year of 10 it would have, though, with director, cinematography.
Wait, that was 8 that year?
That was 8 that year.
I'm trying to think what were the other nominees. It might have.
I think so. I think it would have gotten in.
I'm going to look
It's borderline. I don't have it ranked high. If
Beale Street Could Talk could have probably gotten in. It won an award.
Maybe.
For Regina King. And then maybe First Man. It could have been the Chazelle Jenkins trio.
Yeah, I still think Cold War ended up doing better than those movies, I think. So I think it would have.
But still, I don't think, like, that's not Nazi concentration camp level dark.
No, but they like their movies about about World War II. So
they like it when it's Steven Spielberg.
Yeah, but this is also, like, they can say it's something different. They haven't explored this time period in this kind of way.
I'm very intrigued to see it, but, like,
me too. I'm very excited.
It just seems a little odd to me that the group that, like, you look at his past movie, which was Under the Skin, like, that guy's gonna get into Best Picture, like, that's like, again, I'm
not confident.
I loved Under the Skin, but I don't know. But again, I just think that A24, like, they have a better shot with Past Lives because at least some people have seen the movie and it's heartwarming or heartbreaking, but it definitely tugs at your emotions. And I think it stands out in a year where you have so many directorial achievements with great visions. And this is a quiet little masterpiece that comes in and really just affects you to your core, that leads with its screenplay and the words on the page. So that being said, I don't think Greta Lee, unfortunately, has the room here because I don't know where her support would be coming from. Again, as I've said before, you need some people to think that you're number one. You need some people to think that you are the best performance of the year to get into this category. And I think we're seeing that more often with some of the other nominees, where also I think the release schedule really hurts Greta Lee. But we've been with her forever, and we're kind of surprised by these more flashy contenders.
Yeah. I agree. And our final transition, this is an easier one, I will say. Greta Lee in an A24 film and has been able to campaign. Cailee Spaeny in an A24 film and has been able to campaign. Oh, where's my Cailee Spaeny picture? There it is. Cailee Spaeny and Priscilla. We just reviewed this recently, last week or so. I love the performance. Once again, it's the kind of performance that I like. It's very, she doesn't have like a huge Oscar clip kind of thing, which hurts her in terms of her chances, but it's very ocular, very more subtle than some of these things, which I think does hurt her. She's not a big name. She won the Volpe Cup, which is a big pro. Most of the recent English language speaking Volpe Cup winners ended up being big contenders in Best Actress. I think this might have been a weird year because of the strike or something, maybe because she was able to be there. And Emma Stone also wasn't able to win because Poor Things won the Golden Lion. Maybe that is something that affects this year and throws that off, because I don't think she'll be getting nominated. Even she might make my personal 5. I really like the performance. She's able to cover like a whole, like almost 2 decades of time, very believably. Very, very good performance, but not a big, kind of similar to Greta Lee, not a big name in a movie that's like not really, even less so than Past Lives, not a big contender, and a more subtle performance, not a super showy performance, not the kind of performance that they usually go for. I'd still have her probably ranked like 8th out of the 10, but yeah, I don't think she has a very good shot in this year. Once again, like maybe if it was a 2021 year, where Kristen Stewart was able to get in for Spencer, maybe that could happen. But it's not that year. This is a much more competitive year. So I don't think she will make it, unfortunately.
This gives me Rocket Man vibes of like we kind of just saw like a movie doing similar things recently, and now this movie comes along, and some people will argue that it's the better movie, but I think because we've already had the moment at the Oscars for the similar movie, it's hard to make this one stand out. I also think it does hurt that it's more female focused from a female gaze. I mean, Sofia Coppola has struggled to really come back.
She's only gotten one.
Lost in Translation. And also, you know, I just think there's too many elements that are working against this movie. It's a great performance, but I don't know. It's just, I think that the Volpe Cup may be one of the few honors. I could see critics maybe going for it, but I don't know.
She'll get critic nominations, I think. I don't think she'll get wins, though.
I don't see this as an industry player. Maybe BAFTA, but even that I think is I think none of the televised awards are going to go.
Yeah, I think she'll get. In terms of nominations, this is what's tricky about the Golden Globes now doing 6 this year. Not that they were super helpful beforehand, anyways, but there's all 10 of these women are getting nominated at the Golden Globes easily, is what I would say. I don't see any of them missing.
Because she's definitely in drama.
So she's in drama with Gladstone, Mulligan, Benning, and is there an extra?
Yeah, I guess.
And Greta Lee. And Greta Lee. Yeah.
All right, then I guess she gets into Globes.
Spaeny, Lee, Mulligan. Let's do that. In Golden Globes drama would be Spaeny, Lee, Mulligan, Hüller, and Benning probably. And comedy would be Portman, Stone, Robbie, Barrino, and then there's 2 extra spots there. So I think easily all of them get in to Globes. So that's not very helpful.
You might be right about that. But there's got to be a surprise. There's no way that everything that we think is going to happen is going to happen.
Well, yeah, but I think at the Golden Globes they all still get nominated. I think what will help us out more is SAG, because there's only 5 spots there, because there's also going to be 6 spots at BAFTA. Obviously all 10 of them won't be able to get in, but
we got to be careful for the Lady Gaga type of nomination, because SAG will go for the popular things, and that's not always how the Oscars go. as
Yeah,
Amy
yeah.
Adams.
SAG rarely goes 5 for 5. I think they'll probably go 4 for 5 this year. I think they'll probably get 4 of the SAG picks and 1 of the BAFTA picks, which will probably be Sandra Hüller, who will not make SAG, is what I would guess, but will make BAFTA.
I mean, I think the only one we have to keep an eye out is Ingenue Ellis Taylor in Origin. That's the one that could maybe sneak in and take one of the spots in drama. And then as far as actress,
the comedic actress.
Yeah, comedic actress.
I mean, Jennifer Lawrence, maybe Halle Bailey, Halle Bailey,
Yeah,
maybe
Halle Bailey. They sometimes like the young performances, so you could see.
Julia Louis-Dreyfus.
Yeah, I saw that movie and I wasn't a big fan.
I don't think so.
I'm kind of like, but also it's Julia Louis-Dreyfus, so like
maybe.
And I love her. She gave one of the best performances of all time in any medium in Veep. So you know, but I don't know. It's gonna. I mean, personally, you want my picks, I would definitely put Jennifer Lawrence and Halle Bailey. Those are 2 performances that, if you're talking about hidden gems, for me, I loved both of those. And I think they, like, the movies themselves are good, but they made those movies so much better because of them. It's like true, great, like, to me, like, Jennifer Lawrence is on the level of Marissa Tomei as far as a comedic performance that just commands the screen and like completely takes that movie in a new direction. And I think Halle Bailey delivers a musical performance as good as any musical performance that has ever been nominated. Emma Stone in La La Land, you know, any of those supporting actress people, she's sensational and she's very good in Color Purple. Maybe that would help her. Maybe, you know, she's good in
get
Color
a Golden
Purple.
Globe nomination. Yes,
you get a Golden Globe nomination. You know, as much as I love. You know, I loved Rachel Zegler in West Side Story. So there's no world, I think, where Rachel Zegler wins for West Side Story and Halle Bailey doesn't even get nominated for The Little Mermaid. I think
she'll be nominated.
Great. I hope. But I mean, if Julia Louis-Dreyfus gets in,
I think she's more competitive than Dreyfus.
We'll see. I hope. I mean, nobody really. I mean, I guess Emma Stone in Cruella, she was nominated, right? So
she was, yeah.
I guess that would be your predecessor. I'm hoping
Yeah,
that would be one of my favorite things, and of course the Golden Globes would have to do it.
I think it will happen. Well, yeah, because they're just like the Critics' Choice. They throw out as many spots as they want now, I guess. So yeah, I think SAG will be helpful. I think the general rule of thumb will be most of the SAG nominees and then 1 BAFTA nominee will sneak in.
Yeah,
I think that.
I do love the idea that we're doing 6 things for Golden Globes because they're making sure that you don't get mad at them, even though we probably will. But like, if everybody gets nominated, then we can't get mad at who they leave off the list.
They'll still miss people. Of course. They'll find rooms for some Jared Leto performance if he did anything this year, or whatever.
For the pro shot of climbing the.
He'll be nominated for that.
Also, I'm such a theater kid that I called that a pro shot. We're gonna just move right past.
Yeah, we shall.
Anything else?
What would your final ranking be? Now that we don't have to do all 10, but your top 5.
Are we doing? All right, I'm just gonna do it based on, you know, because I think like first nomination, first win. I'm just gonna do the 5.
Yeah.
Emma Stone.
I think we have the same 5.
Fantasia Barrino.
Oh, not in the same order though.
Carey Mulligan. Lily Gladstone, Sandra Hüller.
Yes, I have that 5 as well. Yes. And all of those 5 for you would be Best Picture films. Yes. For me, I would have Hüller as my non-Best Picture nominee.
So you really think that there's a world where you're predicting May, December for Best Picture and Natalie Portman doesn't get in?
I think so.
3-time nominee, 1-time winner doesn't get in for a Best Picture nominated film?
Yeah, I think May, December can easily get 2 supporting nominations, screenplay, and that's enough to get into picture, I think.
When has that happened? I'm trying to think of the time when a previous Oscar winner doesn't get in for lead for a movie that's nominated for Best Picture. I feel like that doesn't happen too often, but I'm sure people in the comments
De Niro.
There you go. That's fair. And Netflix. So maybe that's your correlation.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I think that, to me, the whole problem with De Niro, A, was the de-aged face, and B, his best performance was in the latter half of the movie, specifically the last 45 minutes. And I don't know how many people made it to the last 45 minutes of that movie at home.
Well, Natalie Portman's best part is in like the last 5 minutes. So hopefully they make it to that. They make it to that. Yeah.
So
yeah, I think that's really it for Best Actress. Any final things you want to throw out there?
Yes. I think that It's a very fun year. It's really great performances, and I'm very excited to see all these people contend. But yeah, I think that it's a lot of fun. I love talking
Yeah.
about the women. For some reason, I always end
They
up
give the
enjoying
better
female
performances, in my
better.
opinion.
So
Yeah,
this was
I think
this was
they're
a fun group.
I forget who said the quote. I think it was maybe Meryl Streep, and I don't even know the quote, but it was something about why women are better. Oh, because they've had, unlike men, had to do a lot more acting in their real life than men have had to do.
Mhm.
I like female performances
Yeah.
better than male performances most years. So maybe we'll do supporting actress as our next acting spotlight. Who
Nice and
knows?
easy category.
Yeah.
That one's done.
That's the easiest one.
Done.
Yeah, easy 5.
Finito.
Yeah. So who knows? So you'll watch this during Thanksgiving week. Have a great holiday week. We'll be back with the live stream the following week. And we'll have some videos sprinkled throughout. I'm sure Anthony saw The Color Purple, which there was a short uploaded recently that you can watch to get.
You can tell that I enjoyed it.
Yeah. He enjoyed it just a little bit. In case you couldn't tell, he has it getting 4 acting nominations. So yes.
And I do not.
Yeah.
Some people think it's getting 5. Some people think Corey Hawkins is also getting nominated. That to
That's
me
a
is a
lot.
little bit of a stretch. He's very good in the movie, but yeah, I think Daniel Brooks is winning that Oscar. I think there's a 1% chance Emily Blunt wins SAG and then can build momentum and win for supporting.
I feel very validated for having had Daniel
Yeah.
Brooks ever since Lily Gladstone switched.
I think that this is Emily Blunt is your Kirsten Dunst and Ariana, and Daniel Brooks is your Ariana DeBose. It is Daniel Brooks gets a hell of a song and then manages to stick around, and like you're gonna think she wins the Oscar by like the 45-minute mark, but then there's another 45 minutes. Like, oh, you really want it now. So hands down, Daniel Brooks. And I also think Taraji, she also gets a fantastic song. Some people will say Taraji should win it. And I think that shouldn't hurt Daniel Brooks, but I think we'll definitely get both of them in. And then, Colman Domingo. It'll be a damn shame if Colman Domingo does not get honored for his performance in this movie. He is integral for the movie working. Well,
you'll hear more about both of those performances when we do spotlights on those 2 categories. So keep your eyes peeled for that because the movie doesn't come out for a little bit. So yeah, thank you all for watching. Like the video, comment, subscribe. You can follow us on social media. Anthony's is right there, Anthony_post. I think mine's Oscar Film FC. You'll find it. You can find it.
Just Jack. Just search
just Jack.
Google
I'm
and you'll
Jack
find it.
everywhere. Yes, that's me. I'm the only Jack out there. But yes, thank you all for watching, and we'll see you in the next video.
Bye-bye.